light in fat, meaning, again, I think I seen this in bacon packages. You would see them light because 50% of that usual product was removed. The fat content of that is lesser, so that's why it's called light. This is about sodium content. We have sodium-free, very low sodium, reduced, or less sodium, light or light in sodium. Again, if you see the word light, it means 50% of that sodium was removed. Lightly salted. Again, it means, let's say there's a crackers. Instead of putting 1 tablespoon of salt in there, they only use half tablespoon. So that's why it's lightly salted. No salt added or unsalted, meaning no salt was added totally during processing. But if the food is not sodium-free, the statement it would say is not a sodium-free, meaning they still added some sodium during the processing. And this is not recommended for control of sodium in the diet, but must also appear on the label. High sodium, 400 milligrams or more per serving. Let's say a soy sauce, usually I think they are 890. So again, it's very obvious that it's high in sodium. So, okay. I would like to show you the sodium content in table salt. So there's a 1/4, 1/2, and 3/4, and 1 teaspoon of salt. This is 1 teaspoon, and this is a 1/4 teaspoon. And this is the sodium content in this is 2,300 milligrams in a day. So I wanted to show you that this is the amount of recommended intake of sodium for the day.
Maximum recommended.
Maximum. That's per day. That's per day. So meaning, again, in addition, those naturally fresh food that we have, vegetables, fruits, they actually have some sodium already. So that's why if you eat processed food, they have more sodium. And then when you cook them, you add more sodium. So you're exceeding really what is recommended in your day. So, so this is what is the recommended intake. But we will, find you a way, like how can you kind of like still enjoy your food without suffering the taste. So, that's a good thing.
I was just reading that, that's the American Heart recommendation of the maximum amount. But I read that they were thinking about moving towards having a maximum of 1,500 milligrams per day. So if you look at that, it's somewhere in between 1/2 of a teaspoon and 3/4 of a teaspoon. Yeah.
3/4 teaspoon of sodium, which is really, and actually I would, this is the sodium content in the Filipino seasoning. I don't know who's accustomed in using chicken seasoning powder. 1 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon. This one. This is this. 1,025 milligrams. Fish sauce, 1,390 milligrams. Soy sauce, 879. The shrimp paste or the bagoong, 540 in 1 tablespoon. And then tamarind seasoning. It's not bad, 410, but still, anything above 400 is already considered as high sodium. And ketchup, 1 packet, it's about 60, 70 milligrams. But who eats one packet of ketchup when you eat your French fries, right? So I multiplied it to 3, at least if it's liberalized, 200 milligrams. And then the barbecue sauce, 1 tablespoon, which is not that, it's 127 milligrams. But again, you just need to be like paying attention on the amount or the serving size of what you put on your food when you prepare them.
And if I could make it's kind of a confession about sodium, is to read the label before you use it. Because what I found myself doing is, like, I like sushi, and I ordered some pad thai recently, and so those are mostly the times that I use soy sauce. I like it in pancit, and I'll put it on, and then I read the label, and I'll be like, oh, crumb. I put way too much on related to the sodium. So, so what Maria is teaching us today is to really become very familiar with the labels, read the labels before we use it, and then we can make informed decisions about how much we actually use.
Right. Not actually what you feel like or how it tastes like. So we need to be accustomed on, reading the labels, be cautious, be aware of how much you put versus the taste of the food.
Yeah.
What I found surprising was bread had a lot of sodium. And there was a time I had to try to find bread with very low sodium, and it cost $6 a loaf. And like, I can't eat like this.
Right. So that's why, it's recommended that you make your bread. I actually make my bread, but not all the time. But you can actually control the salt that you put on your bread if you make your own.
Yeah, in relation to her question, I'm wondering, why do they put salt on foods that, to me, I don't think they need salt like cake. When I look at the recipe, I was looking at an apple cake. It says add 1 teaspoon of salt, or a half a teaspoon of salt. I said, why do they need salt? Is it for preservatives?
It has something to do with when the bread rises. It's kind of help with the emulsification and also the flavor of the.
It enhances the flavor.
It's actually a process thing, no need for any dough or anything, just a plain.
Yeah, it's kind of helps with the
box
taste.
cake.
With the taste, and I think with the when they rises or the texture, it's kind
of the flour.
Yeah.
And the chemical reaction.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
So,
But you could try making it without, see how it turns out.
It's not the same.
yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I've been I made my own pandesal. I kind of lessen the salt. It's still okay, if you kind of. You make your own pandesal. That's good, right? Yeah. So,
If you are conscious of it, then in the long run you'll get used to it. Like
Right.
me,
Yeah.
I take my coffee without sugar. I don't take table sugar anymore. And then before, I don't like my coffee, but I'm used to it.
right. Yeah. It's
You'll get used to
basically
it.
you're training yourself. You're telling your body, or when your brain is accustomed with that, your body is kind of like follows what your brain is asking you to do. So, sodium levels. Again, this is a different description. Again, the 3,000 to 4,000 milligram, that's the usual common diet of, actually it's not common because I think it's actually higher, the common ones that doesn't restrict their sodium intake. This is actually no added salt. It's just, not accustomed at adding salt. 2,000 milligram sodium or 2 grams low sodium, that's what they use in the hospital. But the DASH diet, this is the 1,500 to 23 milligrams, which is kind of liberalized but lower also in sodium. This is what Marilyn was saying, the DASH diet. It's a 1,500 milligrams of sodium in a day.
Will you be talking about the DASH diet?
Yes.
Okay.
So again, DASH diet, it stands for dietary approaches to stop hypertension, which is shown to be effectively lowering blood pressure and improve the lipid profiles by of so many people that follow that. Again, the very brief description is again 1,500 to 2,300 sodium per day, increasing the potassium, the calcium, and the magnesium, fiber, and protein in your diet, and also decreasing the intake of saturated fat. So again, it's more of those, this potassium, calcium, magnesium, fiber. Basically, they are found in vegetables, fruits, and dairy. So that's a basic description for that. And this is the different fruit groups: grains, vegetables, fruit, low-fat, lean meat. These are the category of the foods, and this is the recommended intake if you are at 2,000 calories. But if you are, let's say, if you are 1,500 calories per day, that amount of serving, for example, of 6 to 8 servings per day of grains, that can be like 4 to 5 servings in a day. So again, this is just an average, okay? It's not, how do you call it? Fit, it all fit the size, how do you call it? One size fits all, yeah. So that's what I meant on that. Okay?
Maria, this question. When it says on the grains like rice, cooked rice, how many is that? 6 to 8 servings? How many
If you are serving like 1/3 to 1/2 of rice in a day, that's only like one cup per lunch and dinner. So 1 cup per lunch and dinner, and your breakfast, which comes from cereal. So
or bread?
yeah, or bread.
So 1 cup for lunch, 1 cup for dinner.
Yeah, that's
That's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah, it's a lot because again, that's a 2,000 calorie servings per day. I know we are always busy, unless you are retired. How to make it work in your time. Actually, even you retire, you're still, on the go, you're doing something else. What you can do is you always have to plan and prep your meals ahead of time. One tip of that is, we can chop, a bunch of vegetables. After we get it from the grocery, instead of putting away in the refrigerator, you can actually kind of prep them. So that it's easier for you during the day that you are, you can just grab them and put it on your sinigang or, whatever, or tinola, diba? So it's just easy that you can just chop the veggies ahead of time. Making big batch of soup. This is actually what I am trying to do. Like, I don't have, so much time. What I do, I prep them on the weekends, and during the weekdays, I would just take it away from, from the fridge, or if I use it longer, I would, if I would not need to use them on that week, I can just put it away in the freezer and then thaw it when it's ready, So making big batches of soup, or even the entree. If you have, let's say, if you do baked chicken, you can, instead of just doing 1 pan, you can do 2 pans, so you can just put it away in the freezer, the other pan, and then when it's ready, you can just throw it away, when it's ready for use. Again, storing in the freezer. Actually, this one, it shows, pre-portioned already. The container, it shows already, the vegetables, the protein, and the grains, I think. So, that's something that you can also do, so that it's easier for you. Because, again, when you cook them, you freeze them, you control the sodium that you put in there instead of buying outside. So that's a good, recommendation.
And you also save.
Yes, yeah, you save money. Yes. How to make it work with budget? Again, we have to just make sure we know what is season. When we go to the market, we see what is in sale, right? So basically, those are the season foods. If they are, on sale or they are cheaper, it means, we just choose that's, more economical for us. That's what I do. Like, if I see, oh, it's sale, then maybe I should, buy more of these instead of the other things that are, let's say ampalaya and talong. They are not usually seasoned, so I think they are lower in price if I think during spring or summer. Yeah. So yeah, and actually this is the list of what you can buy during each season. And then again, fresh is better than canned foods. Frozen is still okay because again, when you're freezing the food item, you're just preventing the, how do you call this, destruction, or like making it spoiled, right? So you're just preventing the bacteria from consuming your food item or your vegetables or fruits. So that's why putting them in the freezer when it's ready is actually okay. Even actually, I tried with bell pepper, green onions, when I need them. Like sometimes I don't need it for my tofu soup, right? I would just freeze them and then I put it away and use it. It's still okay. So you can do that as well. Okay, and then if you're getting canned goods, just make sure it's low sodium or it has no added salt, because again, to make it process, it has to have sodium so that the bacteria doesn't gets in the way of spoiling the canned goods. So that's why prefer to have low sodium instead. Okay, so I want to emphasize to you that these are the high sodium foods, like the Ajinomoto, the soy sauce, hoisin sauce, black beans, the spam, salted duck eggs. Actually, if you just use boiled egg, it's actually lesser salt, and it's actually tasteful too. Instead of putting them with your sibuyas and kamatis, right? So you can just usually just use the boiled egg instead of using the salted duck eggs. Again, tocino, sausages, tuyo, chicharron, canned tomato sauce, sky flakes, box baking mixes, the puto. If you make your own puto, just again, don't put too much salt in there. I think you can still eat puto. Instant noodles. What I do with that, if you need something, you can just put some noodles and make a low sodium broth of chicken, and it's still okay, and it's very satisfying during cold season. So
they have very high content of sodium, over 1,000 milligrams for
the low sodium broth. Then that's why you just need to just boil a bones of chicken. Yeah, chicken.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So don't eat the flavor packet that comes with the noodles.
Just
It's
natural.
separate.
Yeah, boil
You
your
have to
own.
use it.
Yeah.
It's like one fourth.
Takeout restaurant foods, pizza, processed cheese, the hamburger helper, again, packaged convenience foods, and then the canned, what's that, bottle, container of, I think it's ready-made sauce. So, yeah. So these are the high sodium Filipino foods. And the good news, we still have low sodium Filipino foods. We have vinegar, low sodium soy sauce, actually still high, but it's better than than the regular sodium soy sauce. But next week I will show to you that I found something that's really low in sodium. So it's actually just a little bit pricey, but again, the situation, if you just accustomed in eating lesser or less sodium foods, you will be accustomed with that. Okay? And then we have this different seasonings such as black pepper, our favorite, onion, garlic, and ginger. That's very popular in our culture. Chili, lemongrass, pandan, tamarind, lemon, and lime, or calamansi. you know, if you have something that you have planted or your friend have, you know, planted some calamansi, that's a good thing to savor
Lemon.
your food. Tomatoes, low sodium broth, but again, it's high, still considered as high in sodium, but if you just boil some bones or chicken meat or, you know, beef, then it still gives you some flavor. Again, fresh meats, fresh or frozen vegetables, or fresh or frozen fruits. These are the low sodium. Again, I discussed earlier, like, you know, less processed is really recommended. So, another good news, there's a 1 tablespoon of patis, but you know, I think this is a Thai fish sauce as recommended by Miss Pelly. You know, there's a nampla. It only contains 690 milligrams of sodium versus, you know, double of the regular patis that we use. Okay, and it shows here
Our patis smells bad.
And then I want to show you, you know, with the 1.5 cups of red tomatoes, that is fresh, and versus the 1.5 can of diced tomatoes, it has 660 milligrams versus the fresh. So you see that's the difference of, you know, having, you know, fresh versus processed. The sodium is really less. Okay, time for quiz. Okay, so what do you think this label says?
1%.
Hint of salt. So I think this is a very low sodium because of the content is 25 milligrams of sodium.
Where's the sodium?
But a serving size is only 5 crackers,
Yeah,
right?
so just eat 5 crackers. If you do have 10 crackers, then you have 50 milligrams of sodium. It's still okay, right? Because again, what is the considered low sodium? How much sodium in the label? Does anybody remember?
Low sodium 5%. Below 400. 400 is high. That's
Right,
all.
anything that's 400, that's high. So again, 140 milligrams of sodium per serving is considered low sodium.
Oh, so
So
yeah, I know
if you
400.
need 3 servings of that, 75, it's still okay. Okay?
Without the cheese on top of it.
Yes.
Don't put
Okay.
laughing out.
So I think, what is this? The sodium is 140 milligrams,
Sugar na yan.
and I think you just want to focus on the
Right.
sodium.
Right.
So
But
this
that's
is low
how
sodium.
much serving amount per serving.
I think this is a no added salt diced tomato, this product. So spam. It says there already 25% less sodium. So this is what we call reduced or less sodium. So that is less sodium versus the regular. Yeah,
It
it's
is.
still salty. So again, I just want to make you accustomed on, you know, reading labels and identify what does it mean. So this one is a black label, lower sodium. And it says 50% of sea salt was used. So this is considered light or different spelling of light in sodium.
Maria, can you talk a little bit about, like, you know, the use of sea salt versus Himalayan pink salt versus like table salt? Like, you know, what are the differences and like what should we be aware of?
Okay. I think it's was it on my other slides before? Let's see. Oh well, actually, I don't think I have it here.
Yeah.
I think it's on my coming.
It's an upcoming one. Okay, well, we can hold off on that until next time.
Well,
Himalayan salt.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of the keto diet recipes call for Himalayan pink salt. And I think it has to do with like the chemical
Right.
and mineral composition of it, but I don't really know
Because of
enough.
the pinkness, I think it's coming from the minerals in there. So it contains other than sodium.
Himalayan, the Himalayan salt.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. It has some
Pink
magnesium, I
salt,
think.
Himalayan salt.
Yeah, because the pinkness comes from the mineral other than sodium in there. And when it comes to, I think, I just want to mention, like, probably, I think it's right here. Actually here, I have the container only because I use them all. So this one, 1/4 teaspoon versus the iodized table salt. This one, the 1/4 teaspoon contains 570. Actually, the bigger, the coarser they are, the lesser sodium because they are, you know, how do you call this? They use the space of the teaspoon more, but they have lesser content of sodium in there versus the iodized, which is very fine, you know, so the volume inside the teaspoon is actually more. So that's why, you know, it's recommended to have a coarser salt versus the really fine ones.
Like the rock salt.
Yeah.
Rock
Well,
salt?
I'm not sure about the rock salt, but again, look on the serving suggestion. So if it says like 1/2 teaspoon compared to 1/4 teaspoon of, you know, then you have a bigger, you know, salt use, but you know the sodium content is lesser. You know what I'm saying? The volume is higher, but the content of the sodium is lower with the rock salt, if that's the case somewhere. And, so I think we already answered this. Okay. I think we want to focus here on the sugar, I think. So, oh, this is high in sodium again, because again, it's 390. Again, the serving size for these, I think this is like green beans.
So it's a 1/2 cup with 390.
It's very small, right? Yeah. So if you use to, you know, if you eat 1 cup of that, it gives you 600 or 700 something of the sodium.
780.
Okay, so that's why versus how do you get less processed or get fresh green beans versus that, you choose what is, you know, fresh versus canned.
Or frozen instead of canned.
I think this is about sugar added. You see the amount of the sugar added? It says 23 grams. Yeah. This is a Jello, and I think we want to emphasize about the sugar. It says no sugar added because it says includes 0 added sugar.
But what about the sugar alcohol?
What is
Sugar
sugar
alcohol.
alcohol?
It's I think it still contains some sugar, but it's only 5 grams. Again, if it's 5 grams, I think that's what it sweetens it. That's why it's a low calorie Jello, because of the sugar alcohol that they use is only, you know, less than 5 grams. So again, anything less than 5 is considered low calorie. This is 0 calorie, and very obvious 0 calories, right? So that's what it means when you see in the, it shouldn't contain any sugar alcohol at all. And this one is a peanut butter. So let's see. Oh, it's about the fat.
Has high content fat.
So again, total fat is only 12 grams. So versus I think what we have in the, I think 75% or